And we're live. What's going on, everybody? It's Sunday night, and look, I'm by myself. There's no Uncle Kathy. There's no Kiwi or Dr. Art either. They're here on Wednesday nights. Uncle Kathy has food poisoning. She had a really interesting night of projectile vomiting and all this other stuff. And she's been like completely wasted today. So no Uncle Kathy. She's home with the dogs, tossing and turning, and back. She's eating again. She's on the mend, but she's like in no condition to do any type of life. So here I am, all by my lonesome, just me and all of you guys. What's happening, all territory? Mexican Spec is in the house. Mexican Spec is everywhere all the time. He's just there, always there. Nick Bruni, Rocco, what's happening? Fubar! MG Mustang 05, Joe K, what's happening? Yes, Tony is all. Kathy's on the mend. She's oh boy, she was bad last night. Whew, it was terrible. It was terrible. I think it was I made chicken kebabs that were really delicious. She didn't want those. She wanted like, what did she have? She had like turkey burgers. She's like this, got this vegan thing. So she had like turkey burgers and like tuna fish. So it was either the turkey burgers or the tuna fish that got her, because my chicken kebabs, yeah, they're all good. Zero, what's happening, brother man? Terrence Seymour, Murder Nova. What's up, Murder? Nothing, man. Just chill, just living the dream. Living the dream. One is the loneliest. Well, I'm not really by myself. I'm here alone in the room, but look, I got all of you guys. So, you know, never lonely. So South Framingham, good evening. Impressed you got the camera set up right now, Kathy. Well, this is all like preset. In here, I don't have to do anything except like just press a couple of buttons and poof, it's on. Nothing gets moved. But like anything beyond that, right? You know, setting up StreamYard or doing, yeah, no. No, she does all that. Two could be as bad as one. Oh, that was a song, right? That was a song. Oh God, man, that was like on continuous loop, like when I was a kid. Like around 1970, 71, 72. One is the loneliest number or something like that. Sound is echoed down a hole. I know. We still haven't done anything with that. Excuse the sound. Bear Rose, thank you, brother man. Sending the best for Ultra Kathy. She prefers Kathy Bananas. You know, just for the record, you know, because she's had a lot of nicknames. I hope you could not imagine all the nicknames over the years, but she likes Kathy Bananas. Ultra Kathy, she likes that too, but she does like Kathy Bananas. Mexican Spec, another damn song is stuck in my head. I can barely hear it. Yeah, it's like it's back to it'll probably pop into my head and then I won't be able to get it out. Three Dog Night, yes. Was that the band that did it? The only song I know that they did was, I think it was like Mama Told Me Not to Come or something like that, right? That's the only song I can think of. Three Dog Night. Does anybody know what that band's name is a reference to? So see if anybody gets it in there. What is a Three Dog Night? We need more dusters. I mean, I got that one sitting in my backyard. There's just nothing for me to do with it. I painted it, and it's been sitting back there for 4 years now, getting covered with mold. Kathy Bananas, yes. Let's see. Zero saying, I don't know anything about weird bands they don't like. But it's just been having well-rounded knowledge is all. But the reference has nothing to do with bands, or the name has nothing to do with bands. Let's see. Nick Bruni, so UT, did you take that Barracuda out? No, I haven't been back there. Jay Rohrbacher, 2018, saw the Power Shift video, love it. Some of you guys, young guys, don't know what they're missing. Young guys power shift. I see them do it with their Hondas and stuff like that. They get it. They get it. Um, means bitterly cold. Yeah, yeah, well, that was the thing. Like the sled dog people, they cover themselves with dogs at night is to keep themselves warm. So if it's really cold, it takes 3 dogs to keep you warm. They use dogs as blankets. Yes, Kathy has had food poisoning. She's on her way back from the brink. Um, let's see. A food bar just put up the link to our merch, right? So if you want one of our hats or one of our funky shirts with a, well, I don't even know which one I'm wearing right now, but yeah, that's in our store, along with many others. Um, let's see. Zero, no bullshit. I can tell anyone the difference between Kansas, Boston, Chicago, or the cities named bands. Boston was okay. Kansas, if you listen to Kansas, you'll get cancer. There's no question about that in my mind. Chicago, oh, they did like a lot of good instrumental stuff, right? Really not my cup of tea, but it's not the kind of stuff that I rush to turn off if it came on the radio. Uh, Boston, but yeah, bad. Um, sheep will keep you warmer. Yeah, but there's weirdness involved in that, bro. There's weirdness involved in that. Um, at least her uvula transplant. Oh, he's talking about Kathy Menendez. At least her uvula transplant isn't acting up. No, it healed beautifully. It looks like her original uvula. It's great. Um, Rocco, Tony, what was it like running an underground music venue? It was fun. It was a lot of fun. The problem was with the kids sneaking beer, right? Which you know you can do. You know they're going to do it. You know they're going to do it, but they have to do it so discreetly that you couldn't possibly find it because it's my job now as the venue owner to find them, even though I don't want to, because I was 17, 16, 17, 18 years old too, right? So even though I don't want to find them and throw them out or confiscate their stuff, it's still my job to do it. You see what I'm saying? So that was the only part that was a bitch. It was the underage drinking, uh, and I did everything I could to keep a lock on that it wasn't going to happen. Which is one of the reasons why the cops, like the city, never bothered me. We ran those venues for years, and nobody ever bothered us because they knew we kept a very tight lid on the underage shit that was going on. So we got away with murder. But that was the only bitch part of it. The rest of it was just pure fun. Let's see. Territory, Tony, will you be running a carbon fiber drive shaft on Project Improbable, or will you instead be drilling holes on it for weight savings? Neither. The carbon fiber drive shaft, our total, okay, max is $3,000 total investment, including the purchase price of the truck. So, and we're into it right now for $1,700 and I think it was $60. I don't know. I've got it written down on a piece of turkey or something inside. So yeah, no, carbon fiber drive shaft is out of the question. Let's see. 25 or 60. Yeah. That was a good one. End of time. Hi from the Communist Republic of Canadistan. No, it's really not that. It's not much better over here, bro. It's not much better over here. The commies are everywhere. We'll get them. Don't worry. We got it. Let's see. Let's say. Saturday in the park. I think it was the 4th of July. Why do I know that? Why do I know that? Jeff Hutchins, what's happening? You're late again. No, man, you're right on time. You're right. I've just been getting everybody warmed up, getting everything moving. Just so now that you're here, we can get going. Let's set it. Bridge restorations. I am enjoying the Jeep Hot Rod series. So am I. And I just picked up yet another one yesterday, a parts vehicle. With the whole video on this, right? Not on the parts vehicle or the Jeep thing specifically, but like what I'm doing right now, like what I'm going through, because this is really neat. And like I have a lot of revelations as I'm going through this whole thing with the XJs. But I have a video. Actually, I was going to shoot it today, but I was too busy like pulling parts with the parts vehicle. Tomorrow's tax day, April 15th. Yes. Yeah. Dr. Art. Oh, where's the phone? Hang on, Dr. Art. You're right. Hey, hang on. Dr. Art brought this technically advanced piece of sound equipment the other day. I gotta try not to knock the camera out. Okay. Is that any better? Sound-wise? I don't know. Okay. Joe K, the power shifting video was great, but also getting the launch right in the stick car is just as important. Yes, but I wanted to do one in power shifting. You don't want to talk too much shit out at one time. I think I'm gonna move this table a little bit. No, I'm gonna move the camera a little bit. Do I have to move the camera? Things are a little skewed here, right? If I move the camera, oh God, all right, forget it. Fine. It's the echo. All right, Ghost Light saying it's a little bit better. Okay. The laptop will overheat. I think the fan burned out of this thing like years ago. This is the first laptop. When we started this channel, I went out and bought this laptop. And it's been in continuous use ever since. And like the fan used to make crazy noises and then it stopped. So you would think that, well, that's the end of it. And I wasn't going to do anything with this. I think, well, I'll just get another laptop because we've already, you can't even see the letters on the letters are all worn off. But it keeps going. Philip Reed, thank you for the super chat. Good news, the Mark 5 made her first trip since the breakdown and she's run beautifully. Now, only if it looked beautiful. I'm sure it looks beautiful to a lot of people. Wrap yourself in foam like a taco. I like that. Asus is a good brand. This thing takes a licking and keeps on ticking. We've done, okay, so figure it this way, right? Doing the math. We've done at least 50 lives. We've done at least 100 lives a year, right? At least, because there's a bunch of impromptu ones that pop up too. And half of them have been on this. So 5 years, 100, so that's 500 lives. We've done at least 250 lives off of this thing. So yeah, it's definitely earned its keep. David Bird, hey Tony, the security light isn't occasionally blinking on and off on a red XJ. No, I don't. I don't. As soon as I see one of those setups, I stay with me. I won't buy one of them Jeeps that has the security system. Don't want to deal with that. That was optional. Territory, Tony, how about the battery? How would you tackle the battery to save weight on Project Improbable? 9-volt batteries in series? No. The thing about Mission Improbable, the thing about that Jeep is that it has to act and look and sound and function like a completely stock car. So I'm not going to get a little funky with like super lightweight this and exotic that and all this other stuff. It gets a regular battery. I went over to the Walmart. and they have these little batteries. They're like 64 bucks or $69, whatever it is. And I literally have one in every single car that I own, right? This green little battery, they do the job. I couldn't tell you what the Colt cranking amps are or anything like that. I just, okay, it's a cheap battery, and all my cars have that battery. So that's what's in there. Let's see. The Chrysler screen module is pretty annoying to set up. Yeah, I will not deal with that. I absolutely will not deal with that. I draw a hard line at security systems. I don't care if they're easily defeatable or not. I don't want to deal with it. I'll tell you how bad I am with this stuff. Okay, I resent keys. I don't even like to use a freaking key. It's like I don't care. You know what I'm saying? A simple button is fine. I'll take my chances with somebody stealing this shit. What was this now? Salt Survivor. I had this friend once in college, and he was an artist, but 20 years later he didn't do art, and I was lying to myself. That's what I think when I see Tony sitting at the computer instead of in. I don't know. I don't know. Boy, how professional is this? The styrofoam. Okay, I really got to do something with the sound in here. Supposed to be professionals. We've got a big hunk of foam. Riff Rackets. Hey Tony, I want to jump out my AC compressor relay and put a toggle switch on it. How can it be done? What are you trying to accomplish, Riff Rack? I mean, why can't you just interrupt the circuit with a on-off switch? I don't really understand. Joey Garcia, thank you. I'm the Uncle American needs. But America's got me. Here I am. Christy, UTG, I'm a new fan of the channel, and I want to say the wealth of knowledge you have available on your channel has been fantastic for someone such who prepping to build an engine for the first time. Christy, welcome to the family, man. And I appreciate you. Believe me, eternal gratitude to all of the guys who support this channel like that, watch us, and thank you. Just thank you. Fox the sound. You mean fix the sound, Jim? I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Well, okay, I'm not really working on it. I stated I'm working on it, and I intend to work on it, but it just never seems to happen. So, that's just the way it goes sometimes. Let's see. Zero Americans are, oh, come on, man, it's not that bad. Stan Lincoln, love the power shifting video. I remember when you first talked about that in Cars Illustrated. You remember that, right? Do you remember the experiment we did in Cars Illustrated with that Nova? Because I was going to bring that up. We use the line lock button to ground out the coil and then pull shifts that way. I was saying, I think most of us here are the aunts and uncles. Tony just making up our deficits. I have plenty of deficits myself. Let's see. Okay, refer focus. Plug in the relay pressure switch is bad, and I can't get to it. If I jumper the relay out, the compressor comes on and blows cold, but I don't want it to continuously stay on. So why can't you just unplug the relay and run wires from the relay to a toggle switch? Not the relay, the pressure switch. So when you want it on, you turn the pressure switch on. That wouldn't affect the rest of the system. You're just bypassing the bad pressure switch. Need more cowbell. I'm working on it, bro. I'm working on it. Territory, Tony. Now that we're on the brink of World War III, what would you go out to buy to stock up on for your cars to keep them going? I totally don't worry about that. World War III is somebody else's problem. You know, this is not my problem. I'll deal with whatever happens. Right? Send in the bombs. We'll figure it out then. What am I stocking up on? Nothing. I have nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, I stock up on stuff anyway because I'm just a compulsive hoarder when it comes to certain things. So, but yeah, I don't worry about stuff like that. Sally Ho 21. So should I hook up vacuum advance to ported or manifold? Ported if it's a Chrysler, manifold if it's GM. That's the way those distributors are intended to be used. Marco Thuswaldner. Boy, I'm bad with names. Thuswaldner. Add professional sound, and I would get skeptical that you're getting funding from the corporate types. Keep it simple. That's true. David Bird, my 90D250 has a switch to turn off the compressor to avoid freezing. All factory AC systems do. There's always a switch in the evaporator case. There's always a switch in the evaporator case that when the temperature goes too low, it turns off the compressor. That's like standard equipment in like every factory AC system. Anthony Perna, Tony, my trans guy just retired, so I think I have to start doing my own. What tool should I buy? I already have the slide hammer for the pump. There's common stuff like feeler gauges. You've already got that. Snapper and pliers. You've already got that, I'm sure. If not, a cheap set of snapper and pliers. Okay. So okay. There's I have to show it to you. There's a compressor for the clutch pack to compress the springs so you can pull the whole thing apart and get to the lip seals. I've always improvised. I use a grinding disc. I just never bought one of these things. I do transmissions so infrequently, really, 2 of them a year, 3 of them a year, that I do them so infrequently. I just never bother investing in the tool. But I use a grinding disc and a couple of nuts and bolts, and the center from a harmonic damper pulley, and I get away with it. But I would recommend you try to buy that spring compressor. Mexican spec and zero. Please remind you. He doesn't have to remind me. You won't be here Wednesday. You'll be on the road delivering around. Okay. No. Okay. Let's see. Charlton Zimmerman. UT, could you explain the difference between a Mopar, A body and B body? Is it length? It's length and width, right? It's pretty much every dimension. So originally there were no A or B bodies. There was the Valiant. Okay. So the Valiant was just the compact car. In '62, they created the mid-size car by taking the Valiant and extending it in every dimension. They made it longer, they made it wider, they made it a little taller, right? And that became the B body. So from 1962, before 1962, there were no later designations. In 1962, the Valiant body was the A body, and then the elongated version of the Valiant was the B body. Okay, And then by default, the full-size cars became C bodies. And then by default, the Imperial, which was all by itself, became the D body. And then when they introduced the pony cars, the Challenger E bodies, when they introduced the Barracuda and the Challenger in 1970, that body style, then they became the E bodies. And then when the Aspen or Volare came along in 1976, those were the F bodies. But it all started with no body, right? Or, no letter designation. And then in 1962, A and B and then C. Did I say that right? Ah, jeez, sometimes. I think I covered everything. All right. Rocco, there was your 727 rebuild video, tools you need and tools you don't. Okay, see, so I guess I already did video on it because it's like, I don't remember. I just do not remember. And I go out of my way to not do the same video over and over again. Let's see. Anthony Perna, Tony, are the lip seal installer tools worth it? Or I didn't know there's a tool for that. Or feeler gauge is good enough. How do you use a feeler gauge installing a lip seal? No, bro, the lip seal is just an O-ring. It's just an O-ring with a lip, and the lip fits into a groove. That's all it is. It's just you just put it on by hand. Same way you put on any O-ring. Let's see. Barrel's Garage, didn't the Dart start out as a B body before they downsized it? The Dart actually started out as a full-size car. It's part of the Phoenix line, right? So the Dart technically was a C body before there were C bodies. Then in '62, they used the Dart name on the Dart. Okay, so 1960, you had the Valiant, and only the Valiant, okay? The 1961, Dodge wanted a compact version also, so they got the Lancer, okay? But for some reason, the Lancer name didn't really stick. So for 1963, they changed Lancer to Dart. So the Dart went from being a full-size car in 1961 to a mid-size car in 1962 to a compact car in 1963. Did I say that right? I think I said that right. Let's see. Rocco saying, I didn't do that video yet. Somebody else just said that I did do that video. And I remember now, I actually did a 727 rebuild video when we had the kid with that 446 pack satellite, Josh. And he rebuilt it, and I guided him through it, and I showed him how to use all of the different things. So yes, we've already done at least one 727 rebuild video. And I got Kiwis apart right now. I just took it apart yesterday. So that's Dr. Art is working on the engine, that 318. That's going into Big Richard, and I have the transmission here that's going to go behind that. So I've got I'll talk about what I found in a video. But I've got to do that, and then once that's all together, after Power Tour, I have to put Kiwi's Hemi together. So we got a lot of stuff going on. Mark Akellum, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, bro. Let's see. New City Carpet. Any chance that a used set of slicks could fit the project theme budget of the Jeep? I'm enjoying those videos. I want it to be like my Mustang, okay? So with my Mustang, no, I did have, okay, so I got the car, I ran the car down into the 1390s on the gator backs. And then for a while, I was using a set of McCreary dirt track tires. Because now remember, this is 1987, and there were no, you had no choices. You had like drag slicks, and that was it, okay? And these McCreary dirt track tires were the only DOTable, street type of tires that worked, okay? And I used those for a little while, but they wore out real quick. It was super soft. I got maybe, I don't know, I'm gonna say like 3,000 miles out of them, and then they were toast. So I went back to the gator backs. And by that point, I was looking for bald gator backs because the gator backs were just, they worked really well when they were just about almost bald. So I was going around at tire shops and stuff and scoffing up old gator backs. So what I'm getting at now is that I want this Cherokee to be like my Mustang in that I want to be able to just drive it to the track, let it cool down for a minute. I'll open the hood, let it cool down, then just drive it into the staging lanes and make runs, and then drive it home. I don't want to be changing tires. I don't want to be adding this or taking that off or moving things around. I don't want to do any of that. For this project to really be special in my mind, it has to be just exactly the same way Kathy drives it to the supermarket. Now you drive it from the supermarket to the drag strip, pull it to the staging lanes, make your runs, and then drive it home, just like that. So I have slicks that would fit. But absolutely, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want it to just be, here's the car, and just drive it to the track, and it does what it does. Chuck Marshall, what's your experience with solid motor trans mounts? Can you use both, or should one be soft for flexibility? Small block Chevy street truck. Thanks for your. Yes, I prefer having one soft one, and I don't like solid transmission mounts. The transmission has got to be able to move around, right? It's got to flex because you're talking about just a cast aluminum housing, right? So when you tie the transmission tight, okay, now that housing is absorbing any torque movement or any chassis movement that's in the car. Say a brake. I prefer using a soft mount on the passenger side and a solid mount on the driver's side. And that's just for the engine's happiness. That's just for the engine's happiness. So it can move around a little bit. It's not bound down to the chassis. If you're going to bind it down, don't use motor mounts. In that case, use a mid mount and front mounts, right? So there's like engine plates, front and back. If you're gonna use two solid mounts, and if you use two solid mounts, make sure you don't use a solid transmission mount. That stuff's got to be able to move a little bit. The best way to do it is no transmission mount, and then a mid mount, and then front, like a motor plate, and then front, a front motor plate. Bill Allen, Uncle Tony is live. Yes, every Sunday night we're live here. Every Sunday night, usually with Kathy. Usually we do this at the house in the backyard with the dogs barking and the birds chirping and the Guam kids running around the neighborhood. And then tonight, Kathy. So if you guys are coming in late here, Kathy had a bad dose of food poisoning. It was either these. She had turkey burgers yesterday. She had a couple of turkey burgers, and she had a tuna fish sandwich. So either the turkey burgers or the tuna fish sandwich turned on her, and she was rough last night, and she was just beat up like she fought the war tonight. So she's not really in any shape to do a lot, but she's definitely on the mend. She's feeling much better. Anthony Perner, Tony, it might be that been the AOD. I've never been inside an AOD. I couldn't tell you. One weird clutch pack. They told us you needed a plastic sleeve ring to install the piston, otherwise the lip would catch and tear. I thought that was all. Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that. But yes. Okay. Now I understand what you're saying. All right. Yes. All right. You've installed the lip seal, but now you've got to put the lip seal into the cylinder. Okay. In that case, you lube it like crazy. Okay. And then use a small feeler gauge, like a 3,000 to 5,000, like that. and you work it in slowly. You're on the outside, you just work it in slowly and push down gently, and you get it in. So yes, okay, I am very sorry, Anthony. I didn't I didn't realize that's what we were talking about. Bill Allen, eat meat. She will feel better. I love meat. Bradley, Tony, I know nothing about cars. Okay, I kind of wish I was like you at times. I have a crack in my Chrysler 300C rim. The rim is made of aluminum. Can I get that repaired, or should I buy a new rim? Yes. Okay, look up wheel repair. I know, I see you're not a car guy, right? So just Google wheel repair in your area, your town, your city, and there's always going to be a place that repairs wheels. That's become such a specialty thing over the last several years. It used to be unheard of to fix a rim. A rim's broken, throw it away, right? But since the rim thing, you know, the 22s and all of those stuff became popular, rim repair places, or every town has at least one rim repair place, or one guy who does rim repair. So Google that, and you'll find something in your neighborhood. Charlton Zimmerman, UT, do you use a torque wrench or set by feel? It depends on the, okay, if the item is torque specific, torque sensitive, I should say, then yes, I always torque to manufacturer specs. Or if it's aftermarket fasteners or larger fasteners to the manufacturer, to the fastener manufacturer's specs. So things that always torque without fail. Okay, main caps, rod bolts, or nuts. All right, rod bolts, head bolts. Those are the three things that always get torqued without fail. I'm trying to think of other critical components that actually need to be torqued rather than just feel. And they're escaping me at the moment. But again, see, it just depends on what the assembly is. Certain things that the torque is critical, not just for the fastener, but because of the integrity of the thing that you're torquing. So, like for instance, if you over torque the cylinder head, right, what you're doing is you're distorting the deck, because as the bolt is pulling up on the deck, it actually pulls up on the deck. You're distorting the top of the cylinder, and you're distorting the deck. So you're more likely to have a head gasket failure by over torquing than by over torquing in that situation is just as bad as under torquing. Mike Batista only torques head bolts. You take your chances with the rod bolts, huh? I mean, good on you if that's how you get away with it. Let's see. Flywheel. I'm guilty of not torquing flywheels. I'm guilty of it. I run them down with an impact gun. A little Loctite, and then and I've never had one come loose. Zero saying that's punk rock. What's punk rock? Zero. I don't know if you're into off-road stuff or not, right? Zero, you into off-road? You into off-roading or not? Because, bro, I've stumbled across literally the most punk rock thing I've ever seen on wheels. You don't mind dirt? Hang on, man. Hang on, Zero. Come on. I hate these YouTube commercials. All right, zero. There's a channel called Dex J's, DEXJs. He's a local guy here. He's about 100 miles to the west of me. Dude, watch this video, okay? Let's see. Okay? Judge. Justin's near perfect day until every Jeep breaks something, okay? Dude, go watch that. He's put a couple of those out, okay? Go watch it. And tell me if that is not the most punk rock thing you have ever seen on wheels. Peg is in the house. What's happening, brother, man? Zip ties and bias plugs, the legend, the one and only from Canadistan. Uncle Tony, what's the Tony capacity of a 1989 Dodge Dynasty? 14, bro, 14. You should know that. What happened here? Sorry. Steve, Tony, many years ago, I heard rumors that Keith Black had plans to put one of his aluminum Hemi engines in a street roadster. I never heard how this played out. Did you ever hear about this? There's no rumors or anything like that. The KB Hemis, the water Hemis, didn't work well on the street. Okay, so they were intended for drag racing. And back when those blocks were introduced in 1973, the common thing was to run water in the blocks. They were using iron blocks at the time. They would run water in them. So those engines, the original KB blocks, were aluminum with removable liners, but they also had water jackets. So the problem with those now was that on a drag strip, one run, it could piss a little water into the crankcase, and nobody cared. Okay, you got a case of oil in there, right? And a few drops of water mixed in with that isn't going to make any difference on a nitro car. But if you try to run them on the street, when they get hot and they expand, okay, so those liners are held in place with O-rings. There's a big O-ring at the top and an O-ring at the bottom. And you pound the liner in with the O-rings. Well, when the block expands, it expands at a different rate than the steel liner, and so it'll piss some water, and so they don't work well on the street. Lots of people have tried to run those aluminum, the KB water blocks on the street. Actually, I knew some people on Staten Island that did that, tried that, and within like 3 or 4 miles, it empties the crankcase, or it empties the coolant into the crankcase. So that's what's up with that. Zero, you like that? I'm trying to catch up over here. Peg owns Dodge Dynasty. Yeah, he does. And we got Jamie in here, Dead Dodge Garage, the best Mopar channel on all of YouTube. Dead Dodge Garage. Jamie does a live that overlaps hours. We start at 7 Central. He starts at 8 Central, which whatever the hell time he is. He's off. Actually, he's out by Peg. Only he's in the United States part, right? So like Peg is in the frozen wastelands of Canadistan, and then like just under that in the semi-frozen wasteland of Washington State is Jamie, Dead Dodge Garage. So anyway, he does an overlapping live with ours. So when you get tired of hearing me yap, you can go over there and have him yap. Charles Zimmerman, UT, no drink tonight, no soda, iced tea. I'm drinking coffee. Bro, I don't have a woman here. I do not have a woman. Look, I'm womanless. So where the hell am I going to get my drinks from? Oh, jeez. Die Nasty, what a great name for a Dodge. Yeah, it actually is. Sure, Jackson. Tony, can you explain your breathing technique when you power shift? Can you recommend breathing exercises that the pros use? I think I believe I hold my breath. I never really paid attention to that, but I honestly think that I kind of hold my breath. Um, it's only for a few seconds, you know what I mean? It's not that big of a deal. Um, Dean Stevenson is saying, I was talking to Olive, UTG is reverting back to his Neanderthal caveman insecurities. Can we fix them? Dude, I'm all about Neanderthal caveman insecurities. Are you kidding me? William McGrogan, I'm curious as to what happened to the Miata. People are always asking about that car. Is there any word from the new owners? I parted that thing out. I parted out. I built it. I enjoyed building it. I liked the idea of it. And then when it was done, I was like, I'm just not into it. You know what I mean? It just didn't do it for me. I couldn't get anybody to take it out and run it, so I just took it apart. Joaquin, when you race, are you watching the road or the track primarily? I cannot ever recall in my life looking at a tap. I mean, be honest with you, right? I like shift lights, you know, but I don't recall ever watching a tack as I was making a run into anything. Um, let's see. Rocco, whatever happened to your friend with the Factory Max wedge car? Well, he's an acquaintance. It wasn't really a friend. He's an acquaintance, just a guy I knew from the area. And honestly, I haven't seen or heard from him since we did that video. So I have no idea. Jamie saying, if I don't go for ice cream after this, feel free to join my live. I probably won't make it tonight, bro. I probably won't make it tonight. Um, about an Opel GT with a slant six. How is that different than a Miata? Um, let's see. Steve, what drag strip are you racing at? Currently, none. I'm here at the back of the shop in the studio. Um, no, I do not still have the Miata. I don't have anything from the Miata. It's all gone. 100% of it is gone. Matt Clegg, what brand of cigs do you smoke? I roll my own. They're Buglers. I've been smoking these now. I've been smoking these for 52 years. Well, okay, wait, no. I started out smoking those, and then I smoked Lucky Strikes for a long time. And then when I moved to Tennessee, there was a brand called Kentucky's Finest that was really, really good. And then I went back to rolling my own. Olive saying, I'm sorry I couldn't come drive the Miata. I had 3 people who agreed to take the car. Here's what I told them. Take the car. Take it to your house. Go run it, okay? Just let me know when you're gonna run it so I can come and make video. That's it. That's it only, right? Here's a car. Here's a free car. You go use it. Go use it, okay? 3 people. So, yeah, I'll do that. That's a great idea. Let's do this thing, right? 3 people, and 3 people just never showed, okay? They're just like, oh, I'll be there Saturday to pick it up. Saturday comes and goes. Saturday of what year, okay? And I just got tired of that. I was like, fine. I don't really want to take it. I'm just not an autocross guy, right? And if I can't find anybody who'll just take this thing and autocross it, now it's an albatross. So I cut it up, parted it out. Oh, okay. What local drag strip have you been testing at? Buffalo Valley is great. I love Buffalo Valley. It's such a cool laid back track, but its downside is that it's uphill. So it's 2/10 slower, right? If you run something at Buffalo Valley, let's say you go like an 8.0 at Buffalo Valley, you'd go 780, eighth mile times, like any other track in the world. So that's the one downside of Buffalo Valley. It's uphill and it's very narrow, very narrow. And lately I've been going to Etheridge. Etheridge is beautiful, US 43. Very, very nice track. Very nice tracks. All concrete. Beautiful track. So I've been going there a lot lately. Olive, I told you I couldn't do it special. No, I didn't. You're not one of the 3 people. I'm talking about 3 local people, including one of the guys who was working out of my shop at the time. Dean Stevenson, when 2 or 3 people are gathered together in Winky's name, there it is in the midst of them. Great. Etheridge quarter mile track? No. The closest quarter mile track we have to here is Bowling Green. That's up in Kentucky. It's about 100 miles north. Dakota. Tony, I cross-threaded the transmission like going to my radiator. Okay, you cross-threaded one of the fittings for the cooler, for the transmission cooler line. So now it drives transmission for not really, bro. I mean, it's a pipe. The only thing I can think of is drill and tap it to the next size up pipe and then use a reducer down to the transmission cooler line. Fun with cars seems quiet tonight. It does seem quiet, right? That's because Kathy Bananas isn't here. Yeah, no Kathy, no dogs. She's much better. But I'm telling you, last night, she was in rough shape. But she's all on the mend right now. Rocco, no, Uncle Kathy, Theo, and Tony. She yells at her eyes. She yells at her eyes. Clayton's Toolbox. Any tips on fabricating a transmission tunnel? Kiwi. So I was over at Kiwi's yesterday, a couple days ago, right? When we shot that Barracuda, and he's got the transmission tunnel. He fabricated the transmission tunnel in the Cougar, the fastback Cougar with the Coyote motor. So he did a beautiful, masterful job on this thing. It's just amazing. Okay. when he's here on Wednesday, right? He'll be here Wednesday. He's here every Wednesday night, right? Him and Dr. Art join me for the tech talk. Ask him then, right? I am not the guy. I am. My fabrication skills are like just. I'm a butcher. I'm a butcher. Some people have it, some people don't. I'm not a butcher, okay, but I don't have any finesse to it, right? Uh, Anytime I try to do something like that, there's always a little extra metal here or not enough there, and there's some banging and some like violence to make it all work, which I don't really care about, but some people do. Kiwi is an absolute artist, so he is the guy. Pop Art on Wednesday night and ask him if he has any tips about the transmission tunnel thing. 90-watt off-grid RV, a slant six Fiero would have been a riot to see on the track. It wouldn't fit, bro. It wouldn't fit. You'd have. Well, I guess it would if you cut the quarter panel and let the front of the engine stick out. Randall Munson, measure twice, cut once, overrated. Yeah, honestly, bro. When I get there are some things. There are some things people are proficient at, and there are some things that they're just not, right? So when it comes to things like fabricating sheet metal or doing body work or anything like that, I'm not proficient at it because I get in the moment, okay? And in the moment, I can't stop and take a step back and take that extra measurement because I'm in the moment and I'm like, okay, I'll just make this go, right? And it's always just a little off. It's just a mindset. Even when I'm doing it, I know it's wrong. I know I should slow down, check this out. But in the moment, you just go with it. And unfortunately, I'm too impulsive. See, that's the thing, right? People who do good fabrication work, right, are very methodical and they slow themselves down and they step away right? And I don't do that, okay? Because it's just a different mindset, right? It's just a different way that our brains operate. And Kiwi's one of those people. He's very meticulous. And he works slow and easy and methodical, and he comes up with beautiful, beautiful results. I'm an engine guy. Engines don't really require very much in the way of like fabrication. Engines are pull it apart, diagnose it, fix it, grind it, do whatever you do, put it back together again. So my brain is geared more towards that sort of work, and his brain is geared more towards the fabrication. Glenn Fritzcorn, audio is terrible. I go, I know. I've been saying for weeks now, I have to fix the sound in this room. I will eventually get it done. It's like pasta to me? Yes, Randall, it's like pasta. Everything is like pasta to me. Joking, you need Art and Kiwi's bodies in the room to absorb sound. It's true. It's true. Let's see. Uh-oh, did this thing freeze? I think it froze. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Okay. Let's see. Big Red Channel 20, is there a way to convert early 8 3/4 to standard axles? Yes, just put the standard axles in. The flange is the same. The Woodruff key axles and the regular axles, it doesn't matter. The flange that holds the bearing is the same. So just swap axles. Tarina, really tell us a Range Rover story. I'm not going to tell that story again. I am not going to tell that story again. Bill Allen, this is Tony's Italian. Everything is a food reference. That's right. That's right. We're the original foodies. No, we're not talking about the buried Oldsmobile story either. No. Glenn Frickshore, no, we don't have any rugs on the floor yet. So we moved into the shop in February, and I only started using this room because this is going to be set up as a podcast studio. It's not currently set up as a podcast studio. We're just doing some lives. I have to get a sound guy in here. I've got to get the right mics. I got to get the right lighting. Right now, this is just a temporary setup until we've got it finished. So I know hang things on the, put rugs down. I know we're going to do that. This whole room is going to get made over as a sound studio, but not yet. Not yet. I still have a couple of small things I got to do first. Dizzy Izzy, what's happening, man? Picked up a real nice unused Sears Penske. Oh, I love those. Those were great. Yeah, I had one of those for eons until it got sucked into a fan. Crop Timer for $20 on Marketplace works great. Yeah, I've always got my eyes open for one of those. I had one for years and years. I used it on everything, and then I don't know, I guess maybe like 15 years ago or so. I set it down. When I set it down, the wire just got sucked into the fan and it pulled it in there and wham, so that was the end of that. Tony, what do you think of 5-cylinder engines? Never really gave much thought. Never really gave much thought to them. I mean, well, who's got one? Chevy used them in the Colorado. Audi had them. I mean, I don't have any firsthand experience with them, and I never really gave them much thought. Bill Allen, little echo, not crazy. Get some stuff to break up the sound. Animal mounts work very well. Yeah, you do like a deer and a bear and a what? Yeah, I like that. I actually like that idea. And I can get a bearskin rug too. Did you guys have you guys are you guys old enough? Do you remember the Bill Jenkins centerfold in Carcraft magazine, where he was laying down in his underwear on a bearskin rug? Zero saying, please mount animal heads. You know, I'm going to see if I can find anything local. Mike Fredericks, Tony, do you ever watch Gilstrap TV on YouTube? I've never seen it. I've never heard of it. But I'm going to make a note. Gilstrap. Because if I don't make a note, I will not remember. Okay, Gilstrap. Tony, you can hang some rear seat bottom cushions on the walls. I'm trying to be a little more professional than that, bro. Trying to be just a little more professional. Zero saying, please send any unwanted animal heads. Charlton Zimmerman, your cup of coffee is delicious. Dude, don't rub it in, okay? Don't rub it in because, well, I did stop on the way here to get coffee, okay? Which every time I leave the house, I stop in and get coffee. But I don't currently have coffee, and that's because I don't currently have a woman here to get me coffee. And I'm like, what are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do? Mount some fish? It's not the same, man. Animal heads are different. egg cartons on the walls. We're trying to do things a little bit more professionally. There are plans, okay? You understand, right? I have plans, like podcast plans. We haven't implemented any of them yet because I'm still, excuse me, I'm still trying to fine tune. I'm still trying to get a handle on exactly what it is that we want to do. So I'm kind of a little neutral at the moment as far as that goes. But there will be a podcast. We've already secured the name. We've already secured the channel. We've already done all the .coms and .orgs and blah, 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 and all the other stuff. So we have the name. We have the basic concept. But I'm still just not ready to pull the trigger yet. Okay, and it will soon. It will soon. Now, when that happens, I have to get somebody in here, and we've got to get actual sound, something a little bit better than like the microphone in this laptop, this ancient laptop, and this camera. I've been using this camera now for 5.5 years. It's all gonna be very nice, but not yet. I just haven't gotten to it yet. Yes, I'm looking forward to the podcast too. I think it's going to be neat. But again, see, that, like I can't explain to you. It's easy to say, yeah, we'll do a podcast, right? But making it well-rounded, interesting, valuable, rather than just killing time, right, is easier said than done. And working that all out, it takes time. It takes a lot of headspace, and that's what it is. I just haven't had the clear headspace to really focus on it yet. Uncle Power Shift. I'll take that. Mexican Spec is saying they made a few Slant 6 4-speed on the floor Valiants here. They made a ton of them. There were a lot of them. Valiants and Dodge Darts. 64 and 65, there were a lot of them. 66, not as many. But yeah, 64, that was a big deal. Like Chrysler was pushing the 4-speed. Uh, 90-yard off-grid RV, it would suck if jackalopes were actually real. Imagine hitting one on the highway, the antlers get stuck in the tire, and you get this furry thing whirring around under your vehicle. I don't even know where to go with that. Zero just posted a link to Dick Landy power shifting. Okay, I don't think I've ever seen that one. Bill Allen, car channels aren't like crime channels that write themselves. He's right. He's got to create his own content. That takes time and planning. I worked on one movie set. It blew me away what's required. Okay, no lie about that. But here's the thing, okay? So the channel, and I'm not going to change the channel. I don't want to change the channel. I love the channel the way it is. The channel isn't broad enough for how I envision the podcast. Okay, so like the channel is a very narrow mindset. The channel is really a reflection of just my own personal interests and my own personal experiences. The podcast, I want to be much broader than that. Okay, like much broader than that, and that's where I run into the problem. You know, and it's not so much a problem. It's just the mental block is what it is, and why I need to really just step back a little bit and focus. My problem is right now I'm on the YouTube. I don't know if I've explained this 1,000 times. I'm on the YouTube treadmill. Okay, we have to keep producing content. There's a number. Okay, there's a number that YouTube gives you, right? Your 48-hour views. Okay, total views over 48 hours. And I have to maintain that at a certain level. And if it drops below that, they start taking it away. Like YouTube kicks you when you're down, okay? If your numbers drop a little bit, they start holding you back. They don't share your videos, which makes your numbers drop even further, which means you got to work twice as hard to cover as many. So currently we're skating right at that number. And I can't really take the hit. I can't take the time away from this. Like if I had a couple of good videos, right? If I ran a couple of good videos that, let's say, got 100,000, 150,000 views in that 48-hour period, then I would be able to take a couple of few days, unplug from all of this stuff, and really focus on it. But for the last several weeks, last several months, really, we're like right there at that level that YouTube will either keep pushing your videos out or punish you. And I can't take the time away. I have to keep generating content, keep generating content. It's not as easy as it looks. 71 to Z28. Oh man, Tony's in the garage on Sunday. Usually we do this at the house. Sunday Night Live is usually at the house. For any of you guys who were late to the party here, Kathy had food poisoning. She ate either a bad turkey burger or a bad piece of tuna fish yesterday, and she was wiped out last night. So she's on the mend now. She's much better. I got her stuff to eat, and she's fine now, but she's still wiped out. So I came up to the shop here tonight to do this live. Chuck Dixon, build a two-wheel drive Ram Charger next. I'm not into the SUV thing. I'm into the XJ thing. Right? I've become an XJ freak. But that's as far as my interest in that type of vehicle goes. God help her. She needed the help last night. Oof, it was a mess. Yeah, oh, you hate food poisoning. I've had food poisoning 3 times, right? And 2 of them, I remember, I was just talking about this afternoon. 2 of the times that I got food poisoning. Okay, I got food poisoning twice at KFC and once at Arby's, okay? And 2 of those times, I remember the exact bite of chicken and the exact bite of the roast beef sandwich that got me. And you eat it and you're like, it's like, something isn't right? But it's not enough for you to spit it out, okay? But it's like after you eat it, you just realize something just wasn't right about that. And both times, I mean, yeah, it lasts like 12 hours, 14 hours like that, where it's just miserable. It's like you just can't. You keep throwing up and throwing up and throwing up. It was rough. It was rough. But I remember the exact bites that got me. Yeah, the taste isn't perfect, and you don't realize it until after you swallow it. Rocco, you got bit by Panera, couldn't hold down water for 24 hours, wanted to die. We were just talking about that right before I left the house. I was like, that's the thing about food poisoning. When you're in the middle of the food poisoning, like when it's at its worst, okay? If death was to come knocking on the door and say, come with me, you'd be like, okay, fine. Fine, I'm done. It's that bad. Food poisoning is that bad. Rose DeLacy, I'm looking to buy an 00 or 01 XJ. Can I flat tow with 2-wheel drive behind my motorhome or 4-wheel drive only? Yeah, you can't. You can't flat tow the 2-wheel drive. You can flat tow a 4-wheel drive by putting the transfer case in neutral. But no, if you flat tow a 2-wheel drive, the output shift on the transmission is always turning, and since there's no fluid being circulated, you'll burn it up. So yeah, if you're going to tow behind, you have to do it with a 4-wheel drive. Chuck Dixon, you've had it twice from Little Caesars. I never had it from Little Caesars. Well, obviously, I mean, not everybody. I like Little Caesars. I miss the old Little Caesars. The square pies, remember that? You get the two square pies, pizza, right? They were delicious. And they changed the recipe, they changed the whole style of it. But the old school Little Caesars was off the chain perfect. It was great. Bill Allen saying you must remove the drive line from the rear connection, then you can tow a two-wheel drive. You're really better off just finding, if you're going to tow it, just find yourself a four-wheel drive. Eric's Garage, Tony, you reground roller cams or just buy new? I haven't had one reground, but if you're going to have a cam reground, I mean, a roller is probably your safest bet to have reground because there's no taper involved in it. I wouldn't. I tell you what, your chances of having a problem with a reground roller versus a reground flat top it are like, I wouldn't worry about it. I would just, you want your roller reground, have it reground. Bear Rose, Little Caesars square pie at 9 p.m. in the shop on a Saturday night. You summed up the late 80s for me right there. Yeah, absolutely. Glenn Frischkorn, no, it was my first experience with Death Wobble. I traded, Death Wobble. Oh, my first experience with Death Wobble was on a motorcycle. And then I had an energy. End of time. I found an old can of Jolt Cola from that time. We had, when I had the coffee house, I had the one in New York. Here in Tennessee, I roasted my own coffee. But before that, when we had the place in New York, I had a roaster. And Plaza House Coffee. And they had a genetically modified bean that was like twice the caffeine of regular coffee, and it was called Jolt. And that was crazy coffee, bro. That was crazy coffee. Like two 16-ounces, which is like that's what I'm good for, right? No, like in the saying, like two 16-ounce coffees, and heart palpitations. I mean, seriously, like hardcore coffee. $90 upgrade. If you want to flat tow an X-ray behind your RV, it's best if it's a manual to put it in neutral. No. Even if you put it in neutral, it doesn't make any difference. It's still spinning inside. None of the gears are engaged, but you're still spinning it. You see what I'm saying? You're still spinning it. SD. I'm purchasing a 7340 4-speed Duster. Planning a day 2 style build. Advice on what to do for a nice street strip driver. Day 2 is my favorite thing. I view everything through a day 2 like set of glasses, right? Just the simple stuff with that. I mean, the 340 Duster is such a great car. Not a whole bunch. So day 2, 1970s, right? Obviously, the simple stuff, right? Like headers, You can throw an aluminum intake manifold on there. Visually, Mickey Thompson's or the direct connection chrome valve covers. Day 2 1970 Duster, like a Krager SS wheel would be the thing for those. They look really good on those cars. Or slots. Slots always look good. Slots make every car look cool. Really not much. There's not a whole lot you can you don't have to do much day 2 on those cars. Okay, you guys are talking amongst yourself. I think you're talking about Death Wobble. Glenn Fricks on Keystone Classics. They don't look good on a Duster though. I agree. I like Keystone Classics. They just don't look right on a Duster. Slots, I believe, look best on a Duster. Or if you go for the bling, the SSs, the Krager SSs. Rocco is saying Death Wobble is usually the track bar, but anything loose to worn can cause it. The stabilizer is just one band-aid if things are right, you don't need one. Yeah, the stabilizer won't, if you've got a Death Wobble situation, right? The stabilizer, it's not going to do anything for you. It might help you from getting into a Death Wobble situation, but once it happens, that's it. I have, okay, so one of my Jeeps, the red one, or the 98, okay, has Death Wobble when the tires start to wear, okay? Front tires, so remember, it's a beam front axle, okay? But there's like maybe a 2-degree, right, caster deal I'm sorry, a camber deal, it's like a 2-degree camber deal on the passenger side. And when the tires get to around 3/4 worn, it becomes prone to Death Wobble. Now, if I throw a fresh set of tires on it, Death Wobble goes away. Everything is completely tight up in the front of that. Death Wobble is the funniest thing. Like you never know what's really going to set it off. Rob Burns, my 69 Dart GTS had 15-inch black steelies with dog dish caps, just like that look. I do too, but how do you get them? How do you get 15 inches on a? So you're talking about day 2 now. You're talking about day 2. So you'd have a hard time with that because the 69 Dart was small bolt pattern, 4-inch, and they didn't have any 14. They didn't have any 15-inch small bolt pattern steelies back then. Mike Batista, Tony doesn't like center lines. I never liked center lines. I never liked. They're such a bland wheel. The Wild Dinkers, Tony, have you considered using dimple dye on the Jeep to save weight under the plastics to look stock, of course? As a last resort, like I don't think we're gonna have to go that far to meet our goal with that. I don't think we're gonna have to go that far. But if we get to where we hit a stone, we hit a brick wall, let's say in that like the low 14s, right, like 14, 10, right, and I'm gonna go looking for that weight, then yes. But I don't think we're gonna have to go that far. Chevy V8 says 10, Tony, did you ever bracket race in the 8th? I'm not a bracket racer, bro. I do not have the bracket racer gene. I have tried it. I've tried it. I have never made it past the first round in anything under any circumstances. And I tried really hard. Like years ago, I used to hang out with Sam Biano. So, okay, you know the practice tree, right? Sam Biondo is the guy who invented the practice tree. I used to hang out with him and Butchie DiLorenzo. And Butchie had a gas station. He was a great guy. He died young. He was only about 40 years old. But Butchie had a gas station in Maspeth, Queens, Maspeth Boulevard. But anyway, that was the home. They were bracket racing fiends. They were bracket racing fiends at the time. It was street racing and it was learning the nitro thing. But at the same time, we used to hang out with Sam Yano and Butch. And Sam is the guy that literally invented the practice tree. So I tried. I'm not consistent enough. I'm too impulsive. I'm, you know what I'm saying? Like you go back to that whole thing about like fabrication versus mechanic, okay? A fabricator has a different mindset than a mechanic has. Well, a bracket racer has a different mindset, a different brain wiring, a successful bracket racer, than let's say just a drag racer, okay? And I have the most miserable failure of a bracket racer that has ever happened. I just don't have it in me. I don't have that consistency. Eric's Garage, will a 750 double pumper be too much for a street 318? You may want to jet it down a little bit. So it's factory, if it's a stock out of the box 750 double pumper, it's going to be jetted just a tad fat for that 318. So you may just want to crack it open. I think there are like 72s in there, 75s, and you may want to find something like in the high 60s, like 68, 69 to put it on 318. I think it'll be fine. Lurk, my VW broke down and I think bad gas water in it. Put seafoam in it and it started again, but it's not running well. Drain the tank, bro. Drain the tank. Seafoam is only going to get you so far. You could try. I don't even know if they have it anymore. There used to be a product called dry gas that you would use because it was normal for gasoline for fuel tanks to have some water in them, and dry gas allowed that water to be burned. You know, the alcohol, right? But yeah, drain the tank, bro. Look, 23-year-old car was running it low on gas, so maybe dirt also. Probably not. Probably not dirt. It's Passat. Oh, one of W8. Dude, there may be idiosyncrasies to that particular car. You may want to go to a Volkswagen forum and ask them. I'm cars in general, I'm familiar with all of the systems, but the specifics of that particular car, things that may pop up pertaining to that year, make, model, I'm not. So that's a question you want to ask on a forum. Yeah, look, I wish I could give you a better answer, but I really can't. Maybe somebody in here is more familiar with it than I am, but I'm not. Taylor Parson. Tony, I'm thinking about getting a motorcycle. I don't want something that's real big or expensive, but I want to have enough power to be enjoyable on the highway or interstate. Taylor, what style of bike are you looking at? A cruiser, a standard, a sport, a dual sport? What kind of bike? Name a couple of the types of bikes that you would be interested in, and I can maybe guide you a little bit better. A cruiser. Okay, and what budget are we looking at, Taylor? Oh, see, that'll have written a CB750. Oh wait, I know they remade those now. 3 to 5,000. Okay, Taylor. Okay, listen to me. Yeah, I'm a Sportster guy. I love Sportsters. Now there's a lot of good bikes out there, right? Um, there's a lot of good bikes out there. In that range, any 650, 750, 800 cc cruiser is going to get you that. Um, Relatively light, easy to use, highway speed, right? Anything smaller than that, like if you start off like a 250, let's just say, they struggle to get to like 70 miles an hour. So anything in the 650 cc range, or maybe a little bit bigger, will cruise all day at 70. I am a Sportster guy. I love Sportsters. They have so much going for them. I would say maybe you look for a Sportster. Excuse me. $5,000, $4,000 to $5,000 will get you a really nice bike. I prefer the earlier solid mounts, so 2004 and older. But that's just me. That's just me. I would look at a Sportster. A nice little 883 gets you down the road, and you just, it's like, to me, the Sportster is the default motorcycle. Royal Enfield also. Royal Enfield is making a lot of really cool bikes. The Continental, they're cheap, relatively cheap. You get a lot of bang for the buck with a Royal Enfield. So you might want to look at their line also. If you like that, so if you lean more towards the V twin type of deal, Sportster. If you like the parallel twins, like a brick bike style bike, like a Triumph, BSA Norton type of deal, then Royal Enfield is going to get you way biggest bang for the buck. Americ or Yamaha Barracas are another great bike. No, not the 920. The 920 was no good. The 750 though was, but that's old. You got to go way back to those bikes. The 920 had the 920 Barracuda had all kind of weird, that gauge. It had weird electronics in those bikes. I don't remember the details. I just remember years ago, like 25 years ago, when I was working on bikes regularly. Yeah, the 920s always had an issue. The 750s had a problem with the starters. They would eat starters like they were nothing. But you had a BSA too. I had two BSAs. I had two 1969 A65. One was bone stock. It was blue with chrome. It was a beautiful bike. I used to keep that downstairs in my house. And I had a chopper that was just like, it was just a roach raw, just raw chopper. But yeah, those are the only two Beezers I ever owned. Buff Del Campo's in the house. What's happening, Buff? Long time no see, my brother. 90 watt. If you take the front shocks out of a vehicle, drop it on a first, and bounce the gas pedal, you'll make it wheelie. We used to call that frogging. That was called frogging, right? So you pull it down in the first gear, right? You get up to like 5-10 miles an hour, and just on and off the gas, and you just got to catch the rhythm as the front end is coming up, and yeah, you can get the front end to bounce off the ground. Bill Allen, Uncle Tony, have you seen the Janus motorcycles? Yes, they make a smaller town style bike. Google it. Yes. Um, if you get mugged or wherever you're stopping. Yes, I've been following the whole Janus motorcycle thing for a while now. Not so much because of the bikes that they build, which are very cool. I love their bikes. But because of the fact that this is a small American company started by a couple of guys who were building mopeds. Their whole thing was like mopeds, right? And then they grew it into a business. And I think it's just fantastic. The dedication and the imagination that these guys had to get to where they are, and the work. I know the kind of work that they put in. Janus is a very unique company. And I have not seen any of their product around here. I don't know of any dealers in the area, but the only reason I don't recommend it for what he's talking about is because he wants something he can jump on the highway and go, I guess, 60, 70, 80 miles an hour. And the Janus bikes are all intended for around town use. Tim Gurney, thank you for the super chat, Tim. Tony, your videos are awesome. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. $1 Brenton, Tony, specialized Sportster 883 at 1200 for the guy, 83 or more street drivable, 1200 is a heavier, stronger, and fast bike. The 83 and the 1200 are the exact same bike. The only difference is in the gearing. But the difference between the 883 and the 1200 is just the size of the bores. Like, same bike. The 83 is, you can just get the 83 cheaper. And be honest, I mean, in stock form, just stock form, 883 versus 1200, it's not that big of a difference, right? When if you start modifying them, or you do it if you do a 1200 conversion on an 883, just change the jugs and the pistons from the 883 to 1200, then you end up with the 883's deeper gearing. Now you've got something that's quicker than stock. I mean, like, it's a worthwhile performance move. But honestly, jump off of an 883 and jump onto a 1200, right? Both stock motorcycles. And there really isn't that much of a difference. Like, it's less of a difference than you would think, given a 300cc difference in size. Danny Boyd is saying he's the only guy in the world who doesn't want a Harley. I don't like Harleys. I like Sportsters. You know, I like Sportsters. I don't like Harleys. I could care less if it's a Harley Davidson or not. I like Sportsters. Vilify, the only fly who wants to make a Deltec engine out of 3 Harley cranks and rods. There was a company that was making a 3-cylinder. This is back around like 1999, 2000 or so. I can't remember the name of it, but they made they added an extra cylinder to a V twin, to a big twin, and it was a 3-cylinder deal. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe one of you guys did. And I read a bunch of road tests on it at the time, and people were like blown away by the power it made. But it didn't last very long. Um, 72 Z28 Harleys are kind of like Jeeps with only 2 wheels. You spend most of your time working on them, bro. So I went through my Ironhead phase, right, where I had dozens of Ironheads. It was all I had, one Ironheads, right? And you are exactly right. Okay, you're exactly right. You work on them constantly. You work on them when you ride them, right? And I was okay with that because I loved working on them too. So it didn't really bother me very much. But when you get to the Evos, and especially once you get past like the mid 1990s, like late 90s, when you get to the Evo Sportsters, no, bro, they're literally as reliable as anything Japanese out there. They don't leak. They barely vibrate. They don't unscrew themselves. The Evo Sportster is really a perfection of that style, that genre of motorcycle. It's not like those. It's not like the early ones. I mean, I agree with you, you know, when it comes to, you know, the AMF and earlier years. Billy Bob Holcomb, the Kawasaki triples were quick for the time, but many of the kids that bought them were not ready to go that fast. They were unpredictable. It's not that they were, I mean, they were 12-second bikes, right? But they feel like 10-second bikes because the way the power just wham, just on there, right? 72 Z20. Well, I mean, work on in the sense that you're always customizing it and making it better. Yeah, see, I'm past that too. I like them stock. My 02 It's just got it's the 883R with the roadster model. So it came from the factory with a 2-in-1 exhaust. Mine has a Danmodo 2-in-1, right? The original, when I got the bike, the original exhaust was gone. So I got a Danmodo 2-in-1 on it. And other than that, the bike is completely dead stock, and I have zero interest in modifying it. My other one is a 1200C custom. You know, it's a 99 1200C, and really not much on that. Somebody had taken the turn signals off of it. I put a pair of turn signals on the back. I mounted them to the swing arm. Just to clean up, you know, to have them on the bike, they can clean. It's got a set of Screaming Eagle turnout, which I just haven't changed them out yet. I don't like a side turn exhaust. I just haven't gotten around to it. But again, see, it's stock, and I just want to leave it that way. I really have no interest in modifying it. Oh, and it's got drag bars. So originally the bike had the slight pullback, okay, and it's got a set of narrow drag bars on it, which actually looks pretty cool. You know, with the 21-inch wheel and that headlight, the drag bars look good on it. Shoehorn Jackson, my brother was looking at a Sportster, and some biker chick said to him, "That bike's for chicks." And he said, "How would you know?" Then he proceeds to beat the shit out of him. When I'm with other motorcycle people, and it comes up, "What do you ride?" I tell them I ride a Skirtster. I never say Sportster. I always say Skirtster, just to beat them to the punch. "Oh, that's a chick's bike." Yeah, I know it's a chick's bike. It's a Skirtster. I know all about it. Uh, Uh, so you've been really close to getting a bike a few times in your life. Last time I was in Vegas, the dealer there had a pretty nice Sportster. Even though they aren't super strong, it felt good. The Sportster is about torque. The Sportster is about torque, right? There's really no top end on them. I mean, full tuck, flat out, level ground, maybe a little tailwind, and you're looking like 108. Maybe if you're lucky, 110 miles an hour out of a 1200, right? 100 flat on an 883, right? That's it. That's all you're gonna go. But the torque is just magical, right? You know, that's the thing about Sportsters. They're back road bikes. They're perfect. They're perfect city bikes. They're great back road bikes. They're good highway bikes. You know what I mean? But it's just torque. They're all about torque. If you can appreciate the torque, you're about a Sportster. You're looking for horsepower. You need something. You need something far more sophisticated. You're not going to get out of a 45-degree V20. Bill Allen, I have a V65 Sabre with every Honda part I can buy, beg, or steal inside that engine. They got my butt kicked by a stock VMAX with exhaust. VMAXs are brutal bikes, man. I've only ridden one. And okay. So riding a VMAX is like riding a Kawasaki triple, right? The saying with the Kawasaki triple is ride it once, feel it forever, and that's always truth. It's true. You ride a Kawasaki, and I'm talking about like an early, like an H1, like a 69, 70 H1, it's a 71 even. It's brutal, okay? They had to detune it, and that's where the H2 came along. They had to make it bigger to make the same power as the earlier ones. But if you ride an early H1, right, or an earlier H2, it's a feeling you will never forget because nothing else does what it does the way it does it. It's like a chainsaw on a rubber band slingshot. It's hard to explain. Ride it once, feel it forever. And a VMAX is the same way. The VMAX is exactly the same way. Bill Allen, those H1s were scary because the frame was made from out there. No, that's not true. That's not true, man. That everybody, see, I was the thing about see, I was very into triples for a long time. Okay, going way back. Okay, I was very into Kawasaki triples, and they used to joke around it. They put a hinge in the chassis, and that is bullshit. That's bullshit. It was just the power curve, the way the power. Okay, like to explain this to somebody who's never driven, never ridden a two-stroke triple, the power is very unpredictable. Okay, so let's just say you're setting up to make a turn. Okay, and you got a typical four-stroke bike. It's the power delivery is predictable and it's linear, right? So you know you're into a turn, you're setting up for a turn, you're halfway through a turn, you're going to start accelerating out of the turn. You know that there's going to be a direct correlation between where your wrist is and the way the power is going to be laid to the tire. Okay, not on a triple, not on a Kawasaki triple. There is no direct correlation between your wrist and the way it makes power. It'll make power different ways, different times. You never know what you're going to get into. So with a Kawasaki triple, it's like it gives you the impression, like I said, mostly accelerating out of turns is where you have that issue. It gives you the impression that the chassis or the frame is unbalanced or loose, but it's not. It's not. It's the fact that, and especially the rubber that was available back in the day too. You know, and then you ride on the side of the tire with a bike that wants to lunge, right? There's no easy acceleration with that. It's like, yeah, it's all or nothing. Laying it down, yeah, it feels like the frame is doing all this, but the frame isn't doing that. It's just the power delivery, the way it delivered. I'm rambling. Sorry, I start rambling with this stuff. Breaded ravioli, yes. Bill Allen, Tony, I love the triples out bike, flex bad in corners, run any hard braking. I rode so many of them. I own so many of them, and I can't really relate to that. But I mean, we're all entitled to our opinions, I guess. I still have a 72 Water Buffalo. Oh, nice, nice. Smoothest bike I ever rode. And and RE5, bro, you're into some like, exotic stuff. Very nice. Um, Joe K, Tony, to what basis do you proclaim that the future of drag racing is eighth mile? Would the amount of high horsepower late mile cars have to be more suitable to the quarter and to the half mile? No. Eighth mile is an easy to set up track. It's easy to maintain. It's an easy to set up track. And you get insurance benefits because the cars aren't reaching a lot of mile an hour on the top end. Outlaw tracks work best because outlaw tracks are little areas, you know, people's backyards, the back of their farm, they set up a drag strip. Much easier to set up an eighth mile. As we go forward, the bigger drag strips are all going to disappear. Okay, I mean the same way all of the tracks disappeared in California in the 70s. You know, the Orange County and Irwindale and Lyons and all those fucking famous tracks. The same way they evaporated, just disappeared during the course of the 1970s and 1980s. It's the same way all of the bigger tracks, coast to coast, are going to go. Like just this last couple of years, lost Englishtown and Atco up in New Jersey, right? All of those tracks are going to go. I'm going to say within 5 years, you're not going to be able to find one of those bigger venues. It's just called Bandamere. Okay, they're going away. But for every one of those tracks that goes away, there's two little eighth miles that pop up here and there. The future of drag racing is eighth mile, period. Let's see. American Rooster, UTG, have you ever tried using MIG wire for flux core welding to get a stronger, harder burn? I mistakenly did it and it worked great. Literally could weld heavy metal with flux core. Okay, with MIG wire. So, okay, so here's the thing, right? You need a shielding gas. So the purpose of flux core is that it releases the shielding gas as it burns, right? You can feed plain wire through a flux core welder, and it'll work just fine. But the welds won't be right. The welds will. What is it? Is hydrogen? Is it a hydrogen brittle? Is it the you have to excuse me. My brain is just in another place. Uh, the weld will be more brittle. You're not going to get the right weld. So you can do it, and it'll look okay. It'll look just fine, but it's not going to be a strong weld. Um, Joe K, I just think from an actual racing standpoint, track scenarios aside, these 1,000+ horsepower builds need the extra track length to let them run out. Dude, have you seen what they're running out there on an 8th mile? The wildest, craziest, over-the-top racing that really has existed since the early or the middle 1960s. The most over-the-top racing you can imagine is happening right now with cars that 3,000, 4,000 horsepower cars in the 8th mile, right? You got to understand something. An extremely high horsepower car will function better in that 8th mile. The problems really happen past that. You can run you can run crazy combinations that aren't really aerodynamically sound in the 8th mile, where you can't extend that to the other end, right? Watch some of this no prep stuff. Watch some of this back half racing. It's crazy. It's awesome. It's what drag racing was always supposed to be. And it's all on the 8th mile. And it would not have existed if the 8th mile wasn't adopted. American Rooster, you did it without shielding us. Yes, I know you can do it, and it'll look just fine, but it's not a good weld. And somebody who's more metallurgically better versed than I am when it comes to this can probably jump in there and tell you exactly what's going on with it. You were saying 1/8 is all street outlaw series, huge power. Yes, yes. 8th mile is the answer. It's the answer. And I used to, I was a quarter-mile snob. I grew up, all I knew was quarter-mile, right? And to this day, it's still programmed into my head. I think of things in terms of quarter-mile ETs. But I remember, I'm 62 years old. It's like, I come from this whole previous era. No, the things that they're doing today, now that I understand 8th mile, now that the 8th mile world has evolved, oh, yeah, I see no purpose to the quarter at all. And if I never see another quarter-mile drag strip, it'll be all too soon. 8th mile is the trip. 8th mile is the thing. That's where the action is. And that is the future of drag racing. Back half of the quarter mile is where the parts fail. Yes, I know. Funny cars, the snake and the mongoose was the best. For a couple of years there, that was a big deal. That was the thing. Like that was the first. That wildlife racing team did so much to bring that sport to the public, because you go back to like 1972, 1971, 1972. Every kid in America knew who the snake and the mongoose were. It really went a long way towards solidifying the sport of drag racing. Ringo Munson had the Johnny Lightning set. Mark Suave, you know Saint Air? Oh, wait, yeah, I know Saint Air. Yeah, I know that track. It has been unsanctioned for a very long time now. They have some half-mile racing now. The Rice Rockets love it. Yeah, listen, there's something for everybody. And there's a lot of people who enjoy roll racing and they like the top end stuff, and they should have their thing. But drag racing it's normalizing itself as an eighth mile sport. And that's not me. I'm not making this up. This is what it is. You know, what's the news? You know what I mean? And what news do you hear about drag racing? It all revolves around the eighth mile. Matthew Allen, thank you, sir, for articulating what I could not. Shielding gas plays a part in how broad and deep the penetration of the weld is. Lacking shielding gas will allow oxygen into the arc, causing a high but small concentration of heat. Okay, thank you. Ghost Flyer, avoid sonic foot-long chili dogs. They give you a case of the trots like never before. I've scarfed out a few of those with no negative effects. All right. So guys, I am going to pull a plug. We're just here coming up on the 2 hour mark. Uncle Kathy Bananas will be back in her full force next Sunday. We'll be back with the dogs and the birds and everything else in the backyard. So she'll be back and good to go. Our mods are awesome mods. Fubar, Zero, Mexican Spec. I don't think I saw Ari tonight. But if he pops in, you know, or if he did pop in, right? Guys, thank you so much as always. Everybody contributed super chat. Thank you. Awesome. Always appreciated. Never expected, but always appreciated. Everybody contributed. Just your presence and your conversation are equally appreciated. Thank you so much for giving me the ability to do this stuff, right? I can sit and talk to a camera all day long, but I'm always watching. It's like, so I appreciate, I'm genuinely grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you. And Sunday, okay, Wednesday, usual Wednesday night tech talk. I'll have Kiwi and Dr. Art over here. And I can't think of anything else I got to plug this week. I don't know. But thank you all. And yes, and I will say feel better, Kathy. She's much better. It was like last night she was gone, and then like today she's got like that hangover. She looked like death warmed over. So I'll go to the shop and do this. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here, and I'll see you tomorrow, or maybe not. I'll see you soon. Good night.